Hi, everyone. I'm Diane Eigner. I'm your president-elect, and I'm also the chair of our certification program. I'm going to spend a little time with you today talking about the certification program. And if you've been interested in the program, I'm hoping that I'll interest you even more. So the goal of our program, or I should say the certification program, is an integral part of AHP's efforts to positively impact the provision of animal hospice, palliative, and end-of-life care. If you are a licensed veterinarian and you've been in practice for 2 years, you're eligible. And the same for licensed veterinary technicians. If you've had 2 years of clinical practice, you're eligible to enroll. The goals of the program are to improve and define the standards of care, including and identifying best practices in animal hospice and palliative care. We're hoping to educate and encourage professional caregivers, promote interdisciplinary approach to end-of-life care, encourage multimodal approaches, and we're partnering with teaching institutions so that we can train our veterinarians before they get out of school to approach hospice and palliative care in a different way, including veterinary technicians. We hope to get our part of our program into teaching institutions for veterinary technicians as well. And we want to recognize the excellence of our graduates and what they achieve and help them carry the message of animal hospice palliative care into their communities. So the program was developed for veterinarians and veterinary technicians. Enrollment starts in June of each year, and the goal is for you to complete the program, or for enrollees to complete the program in 16 months. The program provides about 100 hours of continuing education. It's presented in 5 modules. The majority of the modules are completed online, with 1 module completed on site. I think the benefits are for not only for us to educate you well in terms of the needs of your patients and your caregivers, but I think it's very significant that you leave the program feeling much more confident about providing hospice and palliative care and end-of-life care. You'll have a stronger sense of how good you are at this in terms of your self-esteem, and it provides some credibility. Yes, we all are veterinarians, and many of us provide end-of-life care without getting formal training, but you will feel very different about the care you provide. I think most of us who've been through the program feel that this is transformative, and it does give you credibility that you've been through this program. There are more and more opportunities, employment opportunities in animal hospice and palliative care. And with the recent movement of venture capital into our area of veterinary medicine, I think there will be even more opportunities. And having that CHPB or CHPT after your name will likely make you more competitive for those positions, whether they're traditional positions associated with brick and mortar facilities or mobile practices in home provided services, or virtual care provided through telehealth. As I mentioned, there are 5 modules that are part of the program. You can see here the topics covered in each program. It all adds up to about 100 hours, and it is organized in a way that it flows really nicely from one module to the next. It sort of builds as you go through it. Our timeline is something that is usually easily managed by our students. Registration begins in June, and very shortly after registering for the program, you begin Module 1. That's the prerequisite for moving into Module 2, which is our communication lab that is either held on site at our conference, and I should have changed the word here, annual, because we are going to be moving to a virtual format every other year. So there will be a virtual way to complete the program, because the year we have our virtual meeting will also offer a virtual communication lab. You follow through after Module 2 is completed with Module 3. And everything is spaced out, I think, in a pretty manageable way. I'd say at least 80% of our students, and maybe closer to 90, don't have a problem with the volume of work that the program demands. The program culminates with you writing a case report. The good news is that even if you're not experienced to write a case report, we give you really good directions, and our students generally score in the 90s on that case report. The final exam is available from July 15th to July 30th. It's an online test, 3-hour test, open book. So if you don't take 3 hours, that's great, but we give you 3 hours to do it, and it's an open book test. And I don't think we've had a student fail it so far. So I don't think that you should be afraid of the final, even though we all do get a little bit nervous. Everybody does really, really well. And then you graduate in the fall. Whether you are completing the program virtually or not, the goal is for you to enroll in June and then graduate the following fall. The tuition runs close to $4,000 for veterinarians, and I think it's closer to $3,000 for veterinary technicians. The numbers on the left are representative of the veterinary tuition, and the numbers on the right is the tuition for the veterinary technicians. All travel expenses, should you decide to attend conference and the in-person lab, in addition to in-person communication lab and in-person euthanasia training, all those travel expenses, of course, are your own responsibility. So I wanted to explain the virtual option, and hopefully I won't confuse you, but if you're someone that enrolls in June 15th, after June 15th of one year, and that immediate fall, there is an in-person meeting and you can't attend, the following fall will be a virtual year where we'll have a virtual conference and we'll also have a virtual communication lab. And so if you enroll the year we have an in-person meeting, you will wait and do your virtual communication training the following year with actually the next class. But you will be able to graduate on schedule. You'll take the final the same time as the rest of the students that enroll with you. So this way, if you are someone that either have budget concerns and can't attend conference in person, or just can't get the time off, maybe you have, family restrictions that prevent you from traveling, or especially now with COVID restrictions still being in place, for some of our members, there is a way for you to complete the program virtually. And of course, for all of you international students, you can complete the program virtually. Module 2B is worth mentioning because it involves getting 20 hours of AHPC continuing education. And that can be satisfied either by attending our conference in person or virtually. And if your schedule doesn't allow you to do that, meaning, in lives attend the virtual conference, there is a way to satisfy this requirement by purchasing recordings of our conferences. We do want those recordings, though, to be either in the current year that you're enrolled or the preceding year, because we want that information to be as up to date as possible. We're hoping to offer weekly office hours so that our students can connect with each other and connect with me or other representatives of the program. And I do make myself available for virtual meetings. My information about that is periodically shared in the chit chats that we send out to those enrolled in our program, and it's also available online. Email support is always available, and we're really good about getting back to you within 48 hours. We also do have an established group on our community platform, as well as a Facebook group for our students and for our graduates. We're hoping to introduce a recertification program that will be voluntary for those that want to distinguish themselves even further. And that will involve achieving a certain amount of ongoing continuing education, easily satisfied by enrolling in one of our modules that's been updated. We also have a social work certificate program, so I wanted to mention that. That was developed for currently licensed social workers. That program allows for year-round involvement and provides 61 hours of the National Association of Social Work approved continuing education. It's a very flexible format that is likely to be able to fit a social worker's unique schedule, and it fits with the continuing education renewal cycle associated with an ASW. This program, too, is designed to expand knowledge and skills of our providers, our licensed social workers. We hope to equip our graduates to understand the veterinary aspects of animal hospice, natural death, and euthanasia. It definitely highlights the importance of the human-animal bond in all settings. And we hope it's going to empower our social work certificate graduates to feel confident when dealing with individual adults, families, and children struggling with pet loss. We hope it will make them better candidates to participate as an animal hospice team member. We think that it'll enhance their private practices that they're associated with by offering pet loss support, and it helps them get training so that they themselves can establish pet loss support group. Tuition for the social work certificate program is $1,150, and that tuition is paid in two stages. Stage 1 covers modules 1 to 9, and that tuition is $700, and stage 2 covers module 10, and that is for the on-site conference with the euthanasia training, and that's $450. And like our veterinarian and veterinary technician program, all travel expenses are additional and the responsibility of each student. So that was a very brisk run through our program. I was limited to 12 minutes. Hopefully I didn't run any longer than that. So I hope I piqued your interest if you're not already certified with us. And if you have any further questions, please reach out to me. I'd love to answer any questions you have. Thanks for listening.